I'm really trying to pay attention to my resources, and that includes money, time, and energy. Hey, this is Tracy with Tracy Talks. Welcome. As someone who works with energy, I'm really trying to feel into my body and listen for the most subtle cues about what I should be doing and where I should be spending my time. And that's not always easy. The bills need to be paid. The everyday household chores need to be done. Like, even though I don't feel like doing the laundry and folding it and putting it away, I know I have to do it. So this paying attention to my energy is kind of a new thing. Because if I use the metaphor of the laundry and I just stopped doing it because truly I dislike putting away socks, then I'm never going to do that again. And it's just one of those things that we have to do. But there are a lot of things that I have trained my system to override. Meaning that there are times in my life when I was doing things that I know I didn't really want to do, but somewhere in my childhood, I was given this message that you started that, so you have to finish it, no matter what. You signed up for the activity, you have to see it all the way through. And I do believe that the adults in my life, and I assume that some of you are very similar to me, that had a well-meaning intention, that wanted us to have the full experience, or somebody paid a lot of money and they didn't want to waste the money because you're never going to get a refund on those type of things. But now as an adult, there are times where we sign up for things in our life, and that's anything, whether it's a relationship, a job. We commit to something on Monday because it sounds like it's going to be really fun, and by Saturday we have zero interest in doing it. And there's people that still will go out to the event because they committed to it. They told their friends that they would. But I'm now even not committing to things. Like, I'm not going to commit until the moment that I have to. And I'm really trying to listen to my body. And that's because for so long, for so much of my life, I was told to not listen to it. I was told that these were the things that were important, and I needed to do these things to be this acceptable person in society, and I needed to be this way and act this way and look this way. And my own feelings weren't as important as everybody else's. I don't know about your life, but in my life, things have just felt harder. And nothing has happened, nothing traumatic has happened, there's nothing that significantly changed. But there seems like all of my energy and momentum seems to almost have this limited quality. Like, you know how when you push on the gas pedal and it doesn't go? Like, say your transmission's gone out. And for any of you, if you've had that happen, you can push on the gas and it's only going to go so fast. It's not going to rev up and go 80 miles an hour. And that's where I feel like I'm at right now in my life, that I'm pushing on the gas pedal, and no matter how much I push, I'm only going so fast. And I can't help but try to figure out if I'm actually aligned with where I want to be in my life. Like, am I moving to the things that I really want, or has something shifted in me? And again, this goes back to this programming that, I signed up for this and I agreed to do this. And so I have to see this through no matter what. But that's not real life. That also brings up a lot of anger and resentment and all of these feelings. Like, when we're forced to be in situations and circumstances where we really don't want to be, it comes out. Rarely does somebody hide all of that. And I know I do. A lot of people try to think that they're masking that emotion very well, but they're not. And so what does it look like when I reach this point where I'm feeling that something has changed I need to make a change? And what are the conversations that I need to have? Who do I need to have them with? And then what does that mean? Without waiting until the point where I have zero resources, and I'm talking about energy here too, like where I'm just completely pissed off at everybody because I didn't recognize the signs earlier. Or maybe I did recognize the signs, but I didn't want to have the conversation, so I keep doing the things, and then I treat people poorly. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I live in a very rural area. And so I'm also feeling this pressure of, like, when you live in a rural area and you know winter's coming, there are just certain things that you should take care of. And people like, don't do the shoulds, but you should make sure that your propane tank is full. You should make sure that your tires and your vehicles are ready for snow and inclement weather. And there is a whole list of things that people do when they live in the rural area. I don't heat with wood, but some people heat with a wood stove. There needs to be wood to burn. And I'm feeling this shift in myself, and nothing feels clear yet. And this is one of those moments that gets frustrating. There is this feeling that something is coming to an end, that something is reaching its maturation point. I don't know what the next step is. I don't have this flashing light of this is where I need to go. And it's a matter of just being in this in-between state and learning to be in here without anger and resentment, without ending this cycle too quickly. And this is really just life, because we have lots of relationships at different phases. Like, some people are starting new friendships and new romantic relationships. And, I've got new things going on while I've got old things that are wrapping up. And then there's other relationships that are kind of in this peak moment where there's this crescendo of energy. And so it's just this interesting feeling of really trying to tune in and recognize if there are steps that I need to do now, or if this is a moment where, you know what, I'm just going to play the lottery and just let the chips fall where they're going to fall and trust that everything is going to work out. I am a planner. I really do like to have things planned and mapped out. And that's really not been my life for the last 10, 15 years. As much as I have tried to plan, what I planned for didn't really have the momentum and energy behind it, and I had to find a different way. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust that situations and circumstances are going to open up when they need to open up, and I'm going to trust and believe in the process. And I'm at a point where I have aging family members, and this is obviously a relationship that is reaching this maturation point. I'm at this point of reflecting. I'm at this point of, where do I really fit into the process of their life? And there's times where I show up and have conversations about what is going on, what are you doing, what do you need, what needs to be done, what do I need to help with? And there's times where they're just talking about the volume of the TV, and then there's things that I don't hear about, important things that need to be taken care of. And I've learned that it's too late to have conversations. And I think that's important for people to hear. That, sometimes I'm reluctant to have conversations, and I see other people in my life and they're reluctant to have those necessary and needed conversations. Like, they put things off and they don't say them. And it's this interesting thing that we always think that there's going to be time, where there's going to be another day, another moment. to have the conversations, to wrap it up. And for so many of us, how many of us have these ongoing texts on our phones and there's really no ending and beginning. It's just this continuous conversation. And sometimes there's things that aren't even really important. And I don't know how many of you, but it's like we didn't really say anything important on that whole exchange all day long. It's just interesting having people in my life where the ending is coming and it's coming soon. Where do I need to be? Where do I need to invest my time? Where do I need to invest my energy? What do I need to take care of? Because again, I have people that are very reluctant to let go of any of this control. And I don't really get into politics too much on here. But I was having a conversation with my aging parents recently, and I was hoping that they were going to get the metaphor that I was saying, but they didn't pick up on that I was actually talking about them and not everybody else. But I was talking about politics and how we have so many aging politicians that don't want to give up the power on both sides. And how interesting is that here are people in their 80s that don't want to make space for Gen Xers. And I see that with my parents. They are so reluctant to pass over any of the control. And what I said to my parents is in so many ways, so many Gen X people have been stunted on their growth because people in their 80s won't just get out of the workforce and won't let this next generation step into their power, because a lot of these 80-year-olds have been in power since they were our age. And of course, my parents didn't understand the metaphor, and they didn't understand that I was talking about them and this need to control every single moment. And I can see that there's so much of their identity that's wrapped up around not letting anybody else do anything. And of course, today I was the quote bad child again today, because I was having a conversation about what was for lunch. And actually I had that yesterday. And I asked what my mom was fixing and do you need help? And, and it's the meat and potatoes. And, in her mind, this is the only type of meal that we can have for Sunday dinner. And I'm just at a point in my life where I don't want just a big hunk of meat to eat. And I really don't eat a lot of potatoes. And so today, when I sat down and the items were passed around on the table, and do you want some ham? No, I'm good. Thank you. And I can feel the gaze from across the table. And this need to control. And here I was, just exercising my right as a person to decline taking of food. I mean, you can feel the energy coming out of her. I can feel it. I'm just supposed to take the meat. I'm just supposed to eat it. And I'm just supposed to do what she wants me to do. And again, if none of you have controlling parents, then you have no idea what this cycle is like. And as I'm reflecting on my energy again and bringing this back around, it's like, how much longer can I do this? How much longer can I continue this cycle and to give? And I have no answer today, because it's an ebb and flow. And some days it doesn't seem to impact me at all. But then other days, and lately, this has just been a cycle that no matter how energetically prepared I think I am when I show up, that there's just unknown forces and circumstances and things that we can't plan for. And then that goes back to this whole, well, you signed up for this or you accepted this and you said you were going to do this, but there's just unknown things that we can never imagine are going to shift the energy, shift the experience. And I really do believe that we're moving into a time where we are expected to get our own cues. Like, I can have a very different experience than somebody very close to me. And that's okay. And that's the point, is learning that our energies are very unique. We're not going to respond the same. We're not going to feel the same. We're not going to get those same intuitive hits. And sometimes they're shifting moment by moment. I'm just trying to be more resourced. I'm trying to listen to these subtle little messages. This is not a time of year for me to head into the winter under-resourced. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.